Lee, can you talk about just how you guys finally pulled away, but it took a while in this one, it seems like.
Yes, I feel like the second half we were kind of a little bit like we wasn't like being aggressive that much, and then the second half we kind of like get more aggressive and stuff like that, and then that kind of opened up everything else, like rebounding and everything, and we can push on transition, everything else.
John, you got 10 wins. How do you evaluate how you're playing right now? And today was probably not expected to be this close, but you got to win.
Yeah, a win is a win. At this point in the season, especially approaching Christmas, approaching conference play, these teams, a team like Northwestern State, credit to them, they came out here and played really hard. So, we don't just expect to come in here and blow these teams out, but we do need to be more focused, more locked in when we come in here. But like I said, a win is a win, so we're happy with the win.
Lee, playmaking has been something that Coach Madsen's talked about for you, your development in that area. You had 3 assists tonight, pretty nice ones. Can you talk about your passing?
I mean, like pretty much every position I kind of touch the ball, so I have to make. I have to see who's open, and then I feel like the guys was doing a good job open. I kind of find him. But yeah.
And then John, without Justin tonight, it looked like you were looking to score a little bit more. Was that something you were trying to do tonight? And obviously, it looks like you did in the stat sheet.
Yeah, I would say I kind of let it come to me a little bit, but when I saw the rim tonight, I kind of just let it fly, and I think that's something that is one of my strong suits, just ultra confidence, and I feel like I've been due for a big game. So this was good for me just to see the ball go through the net and just gain confidence moving forward.
For either of you guys went into that zone defense kind of midway through the second half. How do you feel that kind of stops the Northwestern State from really scoring at all for the rest of the game?
Yeah, we were just pretty poor defensively tonight, man-to-man, and Coach thought it was a good idea to give them a different look defensively, and the zone defense gave them a different look, and I think made them double or second guess some things. So I think it helped us, gave us a spark. But yeah, it's just something that we can go to if we need to.
Can you both guys talk about T.T. Carr and what he did tonight, first start? Without Justin, he looks like he organized things pretty well.
I mean, I would say it's nothing surprising. We've been seeing it like every time in practice. So seeing it doing it out there, like it's actually like pretty nice to see him doing what he can do and stuff like that, and showcase what he can do.
Yeah, he played really well. 7 assists, 1 turnover, great minutes. Played 33 minutes. He's probably on an oxygen tank downstairs right now. I don't know how he played 33 minutes, but no, he had a great game. Helped us win the game. He's a beast. So love playing with him.
Lee, I think you set a career high with your rebounds tonight, and you look like a new man this season. You physically are remade. You're just doing a lot of the little things that we didn't necessarily see as much of earlier. What led to this big change?
Yeah. I mean, nothing really changed besides changing my body and stuff, and just like locking and just do every little thing like Coach want me to do, and then like everything I see on the floor I can do too, so to help us win.
I thought Lee Dort was outstanding tonight. He really impacted the win, especially in the second half. 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. He was dominant, especially late, and he was 5 or 6 from the free throw line. Our guys stepping up in the second half, open to questions.
Coach, another slow start, little lull, kind of following up on the Dominican game from Tuesday. What are your thoughts on how to maybe break out of that going forward with a couple more games here before conference play starts?
Sense of urgency is huge. I thought in the second half we came out with, at times, a tremendous sense of urgency in terms of communication, in terms of being there to help a teammate out. And we have to do that for 40 minutes. And as we can improve and build into that, our defense will get even better.
What did you think of T.T. Carr in his first start?
Look, T.T. Carr was outstanding. You look at his line, 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, perfect from the free throw line. The big one that stood out to me was 7 assists, only 1 turnover. And T.T. he continues to make everyone around him better. He's tough. He's intense. Yes, he's a freshman, but he doesn't play like a freshman. And that was great to see. With Pip out right now, we don't win that game without T.T. Carr.
Back to Lee Dort, too. Can you talk about his playmaking, something that he's he's really worked on over the summer, and now 3 dimes tonight. They're all pretty pivotal. Can you talk about his playmaking?
Yeah, Lee Dort has always had great vision, Joaquin. He's a guy who, there's a reason why we initiate the offense through him at times, because he always makes the right decision. And he's able to create easy ones for his teammates. And that's, again, very unselfish of Lee Dort. And it, Lee loves basketball. And you can see that joy out there.
Coach, and then Don, I know
Okay. Mark, first of all, can you give us a timetable on when you expect Justin to play again?
Yeah, so right now Justin's going through a process with our trainer and our medical people, and as we get updates, we'll share those. I would anticipate this in the short to medium term. We'll have some updates. Justin is just a huge part of this team. Obviously, not having him tonight it's hard because he is such a great leader. He is such a great player. Guys stepped up, and that's what team is all about. But as we receive updates on Justin, we'll definitely share those with you. The
other thing I wanted to ask you about was, it's easy to pick at games like this where maybe you didn't get a great start and they're not a great team and you couldn't pull away till late. But you guys do have 10 wins now. Can you sort of give that some context based on where this program's been for 8 or 9 years?
Yeah, I would say that it's a good starting point. We want to immerse ourselves in kind of the daily process. There were some things that happened in the first half that we just got away from our process and our principles. So we have to get back to that. The building blocks, laying bricks, being a bricklayer every day. And so we'll do that. But I think the start, and it's a good start, but there's so much more work to do. You can't be complacent with that type of start. And that type of start is a direct reflection of the Cal community. The students, the faculty, all the fans that were here tonight, the donors, the donors, and of course the players, and this staff just works incredibly hard.
Talk about the closing line a little bit. You really tightened up the rotation in the second half there, basically played 5 players only. Nolan Dorsey, heavy minutes, Chris Bell, limited minutes. Talk about kind of that focus on those core 5 coming down the stretch.
We have a very deep team. And it's a function of which groups are playing best together, and next game it'll be someone else, and it's never hey, somebody did something wrong or anything like that. This is a reflection of having a deep team where a lot of guys can step in and play really well. Nolan, I thought his defensive energy in terms of disruption. There's not a point guard in America that wants to bring the ball up against Nolan Dorsey. I can tell you that right now. And that's what he's done his whole career. He's a disruptor, smart player, makes shots. So I thought he was outstanding. But really, I thought everyone that stepped on the court and the guys that didn't play contributed to the win.
Coach, you guys went into that zone defense kind of midway through the second half, and then Northwestern State didn't score for almost 7 minutes. Can you just kind of talk about what led to that change and then kind of how you felt about how those guys executed that?
Yeah, I thought we were just a step slow on a couple of our man actions. We were just, they weren't horrible breakdowns, just a step slow. A step late, chasing a shooter, a count late, calling the coverage out. We had some uncharacteristic fouls, a couple of 3-point shooters that were fouled. And so that was just a rhythm change. We have a really good zone. And, it helped change the rhythm a little bit. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.